you have an aggressive, target of Nifty almost going back to its previous highs or lifetime highs by calendar year end. You want to tell our viewers what makes you so bullish?
I think there are a couple of triggers that are already there. I think earnings that have come out so far, ex-financial services and banking that is, I think are better than what in general was expected. I think if monsoons are good, I think it will start to propel it a bit upwards. But we don't think that it is going to take off the last year's or the year's high. But I think it is going to certainly go and try and touch that side. And if by next quarter, if banking balance sheets become okay, then I think that can start to then lead the way to the next high.
Okay. All right, Anup. In fact, that was my next question, that what is your sense in terms of the bank balance sheets? Because the bank Nifty at some point has to contribute for the Nifty to get to 9,000. So you think that maybe the worst is over with the banks this quarter?
I think we'll have to see whether the worst is over or not. It is for the investors to decide whether this is really the low point. I think some capital infusion in some of the public sector banks, etc., will also help. If that starts to come and we see the ebb in the next quarter, I think then the confidence will come back. You know, banking is a sector you cannot live without, and if the balance sheet starts to becoming stronger from here, and if this is the low, then certainly there is only one way up.
Okay, let's talk about your conference now. I think today you're talking about Building Materials Day, and the companies that are participating are, it's an interesting bit. A lot of these stocks have done well, whether it's Pidilite, whether it's Cera Sanitaryware. Do you think that this space is still good for more, and investors can still look for opportunities here?
I think there are a couple of drivers in this building materials space. Number one driver, certainly as per capita moves up, I think the shift and acceptance of branded goods becomes better. And as we know in this sector, give or take almost somewhere 60%, somewhere 40% is unorganized. I think there is a move that is happening from unorganized to organized. That is number one. Number two, I think the top three, typically you will have 50% market share of the top three. But if you look at paints, which has moved a little bit ahead, it is 70%. So again, there is some scope available there. The other big driver is that this business, it's not absolutely in an unorganized sector. I think one of the key drivers is, I would say, tax arbitrage. And that perhaps is the best way to sum it. And that if GST comes and cleaning up happens, I think that also will start to give a big fillip. So if GST happens and there is generally a better tax discipline, we certainly see a fillip of at least 50% more. So if companies think they can grow by 20%, they might start growing at 35–40%. So that is also there. So generally risk factors in this industry are low. The better players are very, very disciplined as far as capital allocation is concerned, and as far as finances are concerned. Typically, you will see that the dilution levels are close to zero. So that makes it a very, very interesting play, and we have been sort of bullish on this space for some time now. I think there is still some steam left in this, and market is going to again come up. Other factors, real estate bills, etc. These are also factors which anything which moves it to organized will fuel this space, and everything that is happening in the economy today is clearly pointing to this fact that it is moving up. Plus, structurally, if you look at their balance sheets, they have a mix of insourcing, that is their own manufacturing, and outsourcing. That also sort of makes the balance sheet asset light, so to say. So overall, I think there are many, many factors which are positives. Then, of course, this whole unorganized sector is a negative. It puts a drag and doesn't allow you to price your product to its full optimum capacity. But on balance, I think it's still a very good sector.
Okay, fair enough. What's interesting is your 25th May Day, which is Interesting Indian Companies Day. That's on Wednesday. Can you just highlight to us what qualifies as an interesting Indian company, and your top 3 ideas, or what you like the most in terms of the top 3 companies that you're showcasing?
No, our interesting companies, Jesse, what is an interesting company? Interesting company is where A, there is an opportunity. B, these companies have by and large figured out how to capture that opportunity in a profitable way. It is not just about capturing of an opportunity, it is not just about ideation. Capturing, and they have figured out a way on how to capture. C, the third quadrant I would say is that they have the necessary technical skills, financial skills, and capital allocation discipline to be able to do it in a profitable way. So growth in a profitable way. Growth by itself, is never good from an investor perspective. It has to be profitable, or it has to be an investment which will lead to profits and free cash later. And fourth is, do these companies have a hold over where they are doing and where are the next opportunities coming up? So a mix of these four companies, essentially, these four factors, for us makes these companies interesting. Also, these companies also must have some kind of a scarcity value. It should not have a very, very large float at this point of time, so that investors have opportunity to really make money if they invest in these stocks. The flip side of these, many of these companies are that the floating stock is not that high. And because of the financial discipline, you know, they don't sort of increase the float that much. But scouting around for these kind of companies generally is a very good idea.
Any interesting names? I mean, if you want to share, because this really looks like the key highlight of the conference.
On the third day, you'll have all the names.
Oh, fair enough. We'll wait for the third day, Anup. This looks like a really good one. Thanks a lot for taking time out and talking to us. And